I turn it on to Parisi's, you know.
They're fun.
They look like a couple guys that once asked me, "Do you have the money yet?"
Somebody in the chat room says Vinny looks like the lawyer and Joey looks like his client.
I think I heard from one of them. Maybe they were related to them. If you don't have it by Tuesday, it's out of my hands. I mean, stuff like that. I can joke because I'm Italian.
Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandhi, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the bar room with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Every summer in Chicago, the sunshine spotlights the city's spectacular skyline. Its luxurious lakeshore, marvelous monuments, and the over 200 neighborhoods in the city. And it also brings to light two of the greatest sports franchises in the world. On the north side, it's the Cubs. On the south side, it's the White Sox. This is Crosstown Crosstalk.
Hello, and welcome to episode number 19 of Crosstown Crosstalk, presented by the Barroom Network. My name is Vinny.
And I'm Joey.
And Joseph, you like baseball.
I love baseball.
You like beer?
Love beer.
What's your favorite kind of, domestic? What's your favorite domestic?
My favorite domestic? That's like local, like here, right? Like
yeah.
I've been talking a lot of shit about Miller Lite, but in the past year or so, that great tasting, less filling has grown on me. So,
we're a great tasting, less filling podcast, and no baseball team has embraced the great tasting, less filling lifestyle than the Milwaukee Brewers. So I would like to welcome on a very special guest, and that is David Gasper of Reviewing the Brew, Fansided's Milwaukee Brewers page. Dave, how we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I've just downed a whole 6-pack of Miller Lights in the last 5 minutes because I'm with you, Joey. Love the great taste, less filling.
Absolutely, man. Dude, Joey used to be the anti-great tasting, less filling guy.
I was never anti. I thought it was funny. I always thought it was funny to call it was okay tasting, kind of filling still. But over this past year or so, I don't know what it is. It's my go-to thing I order now. I don't know. It's a great crisp beer, especially on draft.
It's because he loves the Brewers so much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I do
on draft and in the bottle. Definitely the best ways. The cans are kind of but in the bottle and on draft, definitely top ways to drink it.
I agree with you completely, although the can is just so sweet looking. It's a beautiful
It is sweet looking. Yeah. But the taste is definitely better from the bottle. Yeah.
For sure. So, getting into baseball, did you think the Milwaukee Brewers were going to be this good this season before it started?
I didn't think they were going to be this good. I mean, I knew they could win the division. I knew that they could put some stuff together and that they had a really, really good team. And that if everything came together for the pitching or everything kind of came together for the offensive players, that they could have something really special. I did not foresee a 14-game division lead. It's just been. Oh, now it's down to 12.5. Yeah, we lost to Detroit. For whatever reason, Detroit and Kansas City have just killed us this year. But
Detroit's pesky this year. They've made the White Sox look dumb on occasion, too. Not too much to worry about, though.
Yeah, like the bottom of the AL Central. I think the Brewers are combined 3-11 against the Twins, Royals, and Tigers this year. It is the strangest thing. They just swept the Indians. They no-hit them in one of the games, and the other one they beat them 11-1, and they could not do anything against the Tigers. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, what do you make of the season that Christian Yelich is having this year, whether it be, the good and the bad? Like, what do you make of the season he's had thus far?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a very weird season. It seems like he's reverted back to hitting the ball on the ground like all the time, like what he did when he was with Miami. But he was still fairly successful with that in Miami because he was still at least like, hitting it hard and getting some distance on it. Now it's just kind of rollover choppers. It's not really even quality contact. For a while there, he'd been going really well, hitting the ball hard, hitting the ball to the opposite field, and really just kind of, getting back into a groove. We still haven't seen the power fully show up, but it seemed like he was getting there. But, I mean, over the past few games, it really kind of seems like he's just kind of back, chopping it into the ground. He hasn't been hitting. I feel like his numbers overall in the clutch, like in big situations, look a lot better than what I feel like it should be. Like he's been up in so many big situations where it's like, oh boy, bases loaded. Here's Christian Yelich, runners in scoring position, down by 1 or 2. Here's Christian Yelich. And he grounds out or strikes out. And it's been so frustrating. It's been especially frustrating for him. I mean, just hearing his post-game comments, like he's talking about how much he sucks and how much of a terrible season that he's having and like all this stuff. It's very weird to me, like just kind of like how open he is about his struggles. And just kind of like that's what his mindset is. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what to make of his season. There's been flashes, but we haven't quite seen full MVP form from him quite yet.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible that, maybe come playoff time, he's able to get back to that form? And that's obviously what you want in the playoffs from him.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was looking like we were on track for. I mean the other day, I mean he was saying it's like it feels good to feel good at the plate again. So he was getting into the point where he's feeling good and he's feeling ready to go and he's getting back into a good place at the plate. Maybe just kind of the last 2 games seem a little rough, but overall I think he's definitely in a much better place now than he was earlier in the season, and that's very good and he could be on track to getting back to that MVP type form by October. I've been saying it for a while. When he kind of got on that hot stretch, he was a lot more like Miami Marlins Christian Yelich. Where he's hitting the ball hard, getting a lot of base hits, getting some extra base hits, but just not lifting the ball, not getting a lot of power. But he's still kind of around there. Still hasn't had the power show back up, but. I think when you get that full crowd and you get the lights shining the brightest, he's someone that historically has performed well in those situations. So I think he'll end up being just fine come October.
For sure. And if you would have told me that, going into the season, the Brew Crew is going to have a 12.5 game lead on September 16th, but Christian Yelich is going to be having this like crazy down year where like he shows up sometimes, but for the most part, it's been a disappointment, like you say. And then I look to the pitching rotation, and I'm like, our 2 favorite teams are kind of in the same mold where they're run by their elite staff. And you got Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff and Freddie Peralta. All of them have been elite starters for an elite rotation this season. And I'd like to know your thoughts on if that actually makes the Brewers more dangerous going into the postseason than if they just relied on offense the whole time.
Oh, 100%. I think their rotation is what makes them one of the scariest teams come postseason because, I mean, really, you go into a short series or even a long series, facing the trio of Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, and Freddie Peralta is not going to be fun. And even in a 5-game series, one of those guys is going to be pitching twice. And for your number 4 starters, you could, tandem, you could do mix and match of whatever between Eric Lauer, Adrian Hauser, Aaron Ashby. You could have so many different guys, fill that spot, and they're all nasty. They've all been so good. Eric Lauer has like a 2.0 ERA since late June. Like over the last 2.5 months, he's got an ERA of 2. Adrian Hauser has also had a really low ERA over the past couple of months. He's really turned it on. Had the team's first complete game shutout since 2014. It's been ridiculous what they have in this rotation, how deep they are, how good this top 5 has been, and really top 6, because Brett Anderson has been in the rotation right now. He's got the shoulder contusion from a 103-mile-an-hour line drive he took off of it a week or so ago. But that rotation has just been so crazy, and I think that does make them 100% more dangerous in postseason, because when you look at postseasons past, which team generally wins? The team with the better pitching, And when the Brewers made it to the NLCS in 2018, they were relying on a career year from Yolis Chassin, who is at best a number 3 starter, and Wade Miley. It's just they didn't really have the depth in the rotation. They had the depth in the bullpen. They had a ridiculous bullpen. Brandon Woodruff was in there. Corbin Burns was in there. Freddie Peralta was in there. They were all in the bullpen back then. Plus, you still had Josh Hader back there. And Jeremy Jeffress, who was having a career year that year. So the pitching is so much deeper this time around, and I think that's going to lead them to where they want to go, just because it's exactly what you need in the playoffs. As long as you have enough pitching, your offense should be enough to get it done.
Yeah, speaking of the playoffs, a lot of times with the teams that have been successful over the past few years, there's a guy who you don't really expect to necessarily be the hero, someone, an underdog, or someone you just not necessarily the big name. Who could that be for this year's Milwaukee Brewers? Who's the guy, that comes to mind in that situation?
Well, I think the guy who's been the biggest clutch guy all season long is Willie Adams. I'm not sure if he's necessarily under the radar at this point, or at any point in his life has he been under any sort of radar. He is probably the most flamboyant personality we've kind of seen around since Carlos Gomez. And if you remember anything about Carlos Gomez, you remember he had a very flamboyant personality. But yeah, Adames is the guy that's really kind of come through in the clutch all season long. He really was a spark that turned this team around. They were scuffling in the early going, especially offensively. They were 22-23 when they traded for Adames on May 21st, and then he arrived on May 22nd. And since then, they've been 35 games above 500. The offense has gone from either first or second worst in the league to now top 5 in the league since May 22nd. It's been phenomenal what he's done. He has changed the clubhouse. He has changed the lineup. He's deep in that lineup. And he's really, if it wasn't for Fernando Tatis having such a great season, and honestly, if it wasn't for Adames kind of getting hurt here with the quad at the end of the season, I'd say there's an outside chance that Willie Adames could be NL MVP. I think that certainly tailed off with the injury here and with what's happened in September. But he's clearly been the Brewers MVP this year, especially on offense. He really turned this team around just with his energy, what he brought to the clubhouse, and the fun that he brings every single day. It fits the Brewers so perfectly in the clubhouse that they've had for the past several years. He's someone that is really going to shine in the postseason, and he's shined all season long since coming to Milwaukee.
Yeah, I bet he probably will get top 5 MVP votes, top 10.
Yeah, he'll get votes for sure. I don't think he'll win it, but he'll get votes
for sure. Do you think, going back to Joey's question about the kind of unsung hero, you think our old friend Avi Garcia could be somewhat of an impact player in the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. He's certainly been an impact player all season long. He's at a career high in home runs right now, really having a strong season. He had a very down year last year. It was really kind of tough, but Avi's played extremely well. Right now he's got the back acting up on him. Left the first game against Detroit with back spasms. But they think it's pretty minor and he should be fine. But Yeah, Avi is someone who's really had a strong season. It's been kind of quiet, but I mean, he's leading the Brewers in home runs.
Yeah.
And that was not something I expected at the beginning of the season. We already talked about Yelich, but also Keston Hiura has done absolutely nothing this year offensively. So I think Avi definitely has that kind of a role that he can play. He's a very key member of the offense, so it may not be completely unsung, but he'll be in plenty of big situations come October.
Oh yeah, another guy I'm a fan of in that outfield is of course Jackie Bradley Jr. I'm a Red Sox fan, and he might not have the offensive numbers, but his outfield work is still awesome.
Yeah, might not have the offensive numbers is a massive understatement. He has been atrocious,
Terrible, yeah.
offensively. It is so bad. Like I don't understand how after all this time he has not had a single hot streak. Like I knew he was going to be hot and cold. Everyone, every Red Sox fan I had seen on Twitter, it's like, oh my God, you're going to love Jackie. He's going to frustrate you at times. He's going to be kind of hot and cold. He's going to have a month where he looks like he doesn't belong in the big leagues. Then he's going to have, a couple of weeks where he looks like, one of the best hitters. I haven't seen a single one of those stretches where he looks like a good hitter. I haven't seen a single one. It's been all bad offensively for him. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's a great defender. We've seen that numerous times out there in center field and in right field, but man, he's been struggling at the plate. Like I don't know how it's been this bad all season, and he hasn't had any sort of hot streak.
He's going to be that guy who hits a home run in the playoffs, and people are going to be like Scott Podsednik in 2000.
ALCS MVP one time.
Yeah, exactly. So the Dodgers and Giants have already clinched, and they're looking like, if any team's going to win 100, it's going to be one of those two. I think the Rays are in the mix for that too, but the Giants and Dodgers are scary looking right now. And are they your two most feared playoff opponents as far as being a Brewers fan, or is there somebody else that sticks out even more than them?
Not really. I mean, it might be overconfidence on my part, but really, I think the Brewers are the team that others should be fearing when it comes to the postseason. I mean, as we talked about with that rotation, Burns, Woodruff, Peralta. I mean, you can put in any combination of the three, and you can end up with, after those guys go through, you could end up with a 3-0 series lead. In the NLDS, that'll be enough. But you have a chance to win every single game with the starting rotation that the Brewers have. And the way the offense has been performing, they have a really good chance to win each time out. I think the Dodgers are probably the more feared one, just for one, because the Brewers have played them 2 out of the last 3 times in the postseason, and the Dodgers have eliminated them 2 out of the last 3 times they were in the postseason. It's an experienced postseason roster. They do have a lot of big names. They got the Mookie Betts. They got the Trey Turner. They got Max Scherzer now. They have Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw. They got a really good rotation themselves. But really, I have faith in Dave Roberts completely mismanaging his roster in the postseason. I feel like he does it every single year. And Craig Counsell, I think, is the best manager in baseball. And I don't even think that's a biased perspective. I mean, that's been so many people across the game have seen Craig Counsell as one of the best managers in baseball. And with what he can do with a pitching staff and what he can do with a roster, I think he maximizes it every single time out. So really, I think the Brewers are the team to fear, but the Dodgers are not far behind.
Yeah, I actually couldn't agree more. Like the Brewers are definitely one of the big teams to fear in the NL. We saw on the standings earlier that they are 12.5 games currently above their second place division rival. That's the biggest lead for any first place team in the MLB. How do you see them handling like the last month or so of the regular season? Like, do you expect them to rest some of their big guys, or?
Because we're dealing with that in Chicago right now.
Yeah.
I would expect Craig Counsell to be a lot more cautious with some of his guys once they get it wrapped up. The magic number is down to 5 right now. So they should be wrapping it up fairly soon. The Cubs and Cardinals have kind of been going back and forth on the second place. Now the Reds are not Cubs and Cardinals. Cardinals and Reds. Because the Reds are kind of collapsing because they have absolutely no bullpen. And then Cardinals being all sad and losing. God, what a great moment. When Daniel Vogelback. I was at that game actually in person. That was insane. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Craig Counsell is going to be taking it cautious, taking it easy. I mean, you saw in the no-hitter the other day that he took Corbin Burns out after 8 no-hit innings against the Indians at 115 pitches. I think certainly once they get it wrapped up, Counsell certainly be playing it cautious with a lot of guys, making sure that they're as close to 100% as they can heading into the postseason. You want Avi Garcia at 100%. You want Corbin Burns, Freddie Peralta, Brandon Woodruff. You want them as close to 100%. You want Willie Adams at 100% heading into October, because that's when you need them. I mean, the regular season, that all that success is great and all, and it gets you in there. But unless you win the whole thing, what are we really going for? Like, we don't all just want regular season records. You want a ring. And in order to do that, they need these guys to perform at their best at the end of the season. So burning them out in, June, July, August, September doesn't really do them as much good when they need them in October. So Counsell is going to be playing it cautious, and he's going to be, resting guys. And, it's like, okay, you completed 6 really good innings. Do I need to push you for 7? We got this one in control. Probably not. We can take you out after 6, something like that. So they're probably going to take it pretty easy.
Yeah, and you kind of alluded to it a little before we went live here, your hatred for the Cubs. I got to ask, how happy were you as a Brewers fan to see the Cubs kind of blow it up in 2021, getting rid of all their big guys?
Oh, it was beautiful. Oh, man. I mean, for the past few years, it feels like the Cubs have been massively underperforming. Like with that roster that they had with that core, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, you felt like they should have done a whole lot more than what they did. But they really kind of seemed to coast after the 2016 World Series. They're just like, we won it. Nothing left to prove. Let's just, we're just going through the motions now. And honestly, at the time in 2016, like, I was happy for Cubs fans. Like, okay, yeah, you've been long suffering, 108 years. But then they just never shut up about it. And they just kept on throwing it in every single time. Where's the ring? Where's the ring? It's like, you won one of them in 108 years, okay? Maybe don't talk too much smack about it. So, yeah, after that, then they just became obnoxious to me. So, yeah, I'm fine seeing them a little sad about losing those guys. But, yeah, it was certainly much needed. I was kind of surprised the Cubs were willing to do it, willing to part with Bryant and Rizzo and Baez and make trades surrounding all those guys. But, I mean, good for them for doing it. But, I mean, they held on a while, and, they may not have gotten as much back, although I am very surprised they got Pete Crow Armstrong for Javi Baez. But, hey,
they
Mets
probably
are
got
going to
the
Met.
best return. They probably got their best return for the worst player.
Yeah, 100%.
Not including Kimbrel or Tapera. I'm talking like the core that won the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't understand. I think, again, Mets just going to Met because they're also an inept organization. I remember the Brewers traded Keon Broxton to the Mets for 3 players. And they traded one of them to get Omar Narvaez. So we got a starting catcher. And we also got this really good prospect down in A-ball, Felix Valerio, who's just been like, he's got more walks and strikeouts. He's hitting like 300 some. He's showing some power now. Like, we got this dude for Keon Broxton. Like, of course, that was the Brody Van Wagenen era.
Yeah.
God, I miss that guy. But yeah, and Javi Baez, I don't know who's going to pay him this offseason, but someone is going to pay him much more money than he's worth, and that contract is going to be an albatross for years to come. I'm not sure if he's going to go back to Chicago. I'm not sure if he's going to stick around in New York or if he's going to go someplace else. But, yeah, I'm not sure how they ended up swinging that return for Javi Baez. And they couldn't get, the Chris Bryant return was decent, but there's no real kind of star prospect, I think, there.
It was definitely
and Anthony Rizzo. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, the Bryant trade was like with 2 minutes left before the actual deadline. Like, it was that type of trade.
Yeah, because I mean they got to the point where it's like, well, Bryant was supposed to be like the first one of these guys traded, and it's like, are we really going to go through this deadline, trade Rizzo, trade Baez, and keep Bryant? Like they had to move him somewhere, and the Giants had to do something because the Giants were sitting quiet all deadline. And they needed to make a move, and they just kind of waited out the Cubs. It seemed. I feel like Bryant was always the guy that they wanted, and the Cubs were just shooting for the moon because why not? But when it came down to the deadline, they just kind of held firm, and they ended up getting a lower price.
Would you be okay with a White Sox versus Brewers World Series?
Absolutely. I think that'd be a ton of fun, really. I think those are two really well-matched teams. As we kind of talked about, the rotations are really strong. The bullpen's really strong. I mean, the Brewers have Devin Williams and Josh Hader. You guys have Craig Kimbrell and Liam Hendricks. Like, that's another pretty elite duo at the back end. So I think that'd be a really, really good matchup between these two, and two franchises and two fan bases, I think that really deserve it. So I'm really excited for something like that. I just want the Brewers to get there. It's been since 1982 since the Brewers got there. So I just want to get there and worry about the opponent later.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you on that. Like, I feel the same way. Like, of course, you care about people you like's favorite team, but when it comes to it, you want to see your team in the World Series. But I am thinking about like a cold, chilly October night in Chicago or Milwaukee. And like,
where it's nice and warm because we built a roof.
Yeah, true. But like Lance Lynn versus Woodruff, game 1 of the World Series. Let's go. Or Burns versus Rodon, game 2 of the World Series. Like, feed it to me, inject it into my veins. That would be so sweet. And like you said, having Hader, Hendricks, and Kimbrell, and then you even include guys like Michael Kopech into like a World Series with like just that dominant of pitching. It's like whoever can muster up 3 runs can win the World Series. I'm all for it. That would be so sweet to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just dominant staffs, and Aaron Ashby back there. Brad Boxberger has been having a phenomenal season. We got this guy named Jake Cousins. We signed him out of independent ball like 2 years ago. He throws 98 with a nasty slider, has like the second best stuff plus in all of baseball. Like, it's crazy what the Brewers have in this bullpen. And then we also have Daniel Norris sitting back there, but I don't think he's going to make the postseason roster.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and speaking of Josh Hader, he's got saves in his past 2 of his past 3 appearances. What does he mean for the Bruins to be successful? It's got to extra mental, right?
Yeah, I mean, with what they've done with Hader, because in the past he's been a multi-inning guy. He's pitched 2 innings or 3 innings or whatever they kind of ask him to do, kind of that Andrew Miller type role. But now he's more in the traditional closers type role, and he's responded really well to it. I mean, he's able to pitch back-to-back a lot more often. He's throwing harder this year. He hit 100 miles an hour on opening day, and he's hit 99 or 100. I think he's been close to it since, and he's been a lot better. He's been fresh. He's been throwing harder, and he's been consistent and closing down games. I mean, he's only got 1 blown save all year. Knock on wood. So he's been a key piece to this bullpen, to this team's success, where, I mean, really, as long as your starter leaves with the lead, the Brewers feel quite confident that they're going to be able to lock down the win.
For sure, and that's amazing for postseason success. Before we let you go, I want your thoughts on Ryan Braun and what he meant to the Brewers, his retirement, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Ryan Braun, if you're not from Milwaukee, like if you're not a Brewers fan, you're going to have a different opinion on Braun, and he's not going to mean quite the same to you. But to Brewers fans, Ryan Braun was the face of a generation of Brewers baseball. I mean, the older generation had Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, those guys, but for our generation, that guy was Ryan Braun. He was the final piece of the puzzle of that young core in 2008 with Prince Fielder, Ricky Weeks, final piece to come in. And he brought postseason baseball back to Milwaukee, first time in 26 years. And he brought about a new golden age of Brewers baseball. He went to the postseason 5 times in 14 seasons. In the previous, 40 years of the Brewers franchise, they had only been in the postseason twice. One of the most clutch hitters that I've ever seen, that perhaps the game of baseball has ever seen, always coming through in big situations, always coming through against the Cubs, against the Cardinals. Just really kind of meant everything to a whole generation of Brewers fans. And he's really kind of a part of the Brewers family. So we accept him, flaws and all. All right, he's a flawed human being, made plenty of mistakes in the past, but when it's a member of your family like that, that's someone that you're not just going to completely, it's like, oh no, don't want anything to do with you. I mean, with what he did, especially over the final few years, like after his suspension, really kind of turned into a leadership role, cleaned his act up, was just on a straight and narrow ever since, and really kind of helped build this winning culture that the Brewers have. Because prior to his arrival, the Brewers did not have a winning culture. It was terrible for years. It was all losing all the time. And he changed that. His arrival changed that. His attitude changed that. So for us, it's something that I'll always be grateful for, that he decided to stick around, sign 2 contract extensions with Milwaukee. And he's someone that is certainly going to be valued a lot more highly in Brewers history than he will for baseball fans across the country.
For sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dave, I can't thank you enough for coming on our show. I just want to ask real quick about your podcast, the Cold Brew podcast. What do you talk about on there? Do you talk beer? Do you talk baseball? Like, what's your main thing over there?
Yeah, we mostly have been talking baseball lately, not quite as much beer, mostly because we've had to be doing recordings of it a bit earlier in the day. But prior to coming on here, we just recorded our most recent episode, a few hours before this, with Jeff Levering, the radio play-by-play voice of the Milwaukee Brewers. So we got him on this week. So yeah, we just kind of, talk some Brewers, talk some shop, just kind of, free-flowing conversation. Past few weeks, we've done kind of a minor league tour where we, talk about each of the minor league affiliates. We got the radio broadcasters from each of those teams on. We've had, a lot of different guests over the years, radio hosts, beat writers. We had Pitching Ninja on the podcast. So we've had a program. Yeah, big friend of podcasts, that Pitching Ninja. Yeah. So, and obviously Pitching Ninja is a big fan of the Brewers pitching staff because, come on, we got Corbin Burns, we got Devin Williams. What's not to love? So
we might be fans of the 2 teams featured on his program the most, on his Twitter account the most. I don't know if another team has more players. The Dodgers, maybe.
Yeah, and the Mets whenever Jacob deGrom is out there.
True.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, our staffs are just insane. So if we do meet up in the World Series, I think that'd be a phenomenal matchup, and a really great one to watch. So, but yeah, so Cold Brew Podcast, yeah, you can find it Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Really kind of anywhere you look for them. New episodes normally out every Thursday or Friday. This one I just put up right before we came on here. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff to have there.
Very cool. If we do somehow meet in the World Series, we're gonna have you back on and preview the thing. I'm greatly looking forward to the playoffs. You want to promote your reviewing the Brew stuff as well, because you do great work over there.
Yeah. So reviewing the Brew, we've kind of got a lot of Ryan Braun retirement stuff up on the site right now. But yeah, reviewingbrew.com. Follow us on Twitter at reviewingthebrew. I promise it'll be fun if you follow me. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. Postseason prep, and still kind of perhaps a bit more Ryan Braun celebration as we get closer to that. But yeah, it's a lot of good stuff coming on the site. Best Brewers analysis you're going to find on the internet. That's for sure.
Very good. I love to hear it. You guys do great work. I'm a huge fan. And thank you so much for coming on. We can't thank you enough.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, for having me. It was fun. Have fun, and good luck, and destroy the Cubs whenever you can.
Yeah, I was just going to say, good luck to the Brewers the rest of the way.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. It's gonna be a wild ride these final few weeks.
Sure is. Everybody, make sure you're following at dgasper24 on Twitter, and we can't thank you enough. And are we doing a commercial break?
Doesn't look like it. Nope, we're
No
not.
commercial break. No commercial break. Okay. So we are into the rest of the show. Thank you, Dave, so much for coming on. And, overall thoughts on the Brew Crew real quick before we wrap up that conversation.
I mean, you look at the standings, especially, and then kind of similarly when you watch these teams play, you look at their lineups, they're almost like the NL White Sox.
Yeah.
In terms of their rotation, the power.
The White Sox have a better
They probably have a better hitting lineup.
Yeah, they have a better rotation and bullpen, though, maybe.
Maybe. I will get into the rotation in a minute. Dallas Keuchel stinks. I'm done with him.
Well, yeah. Good call, Spider-Man. Did we help Brennan Davis?
I mean, you know more about his current, performance than I do, but I'm going to go ahead and say yeah.
But I mean, we interview him. He finishes whatever quarantine thing they were doing down in AA, and then immediately gets called up to AAA, hits 2 bombs in his first 2 at-bats with the Iowa Cubs. I mean, you're welcome, Brennan Davis.
Yeah, I mean, he's standing at that plate. He's just thinking of us. He's like, those 2 Italians, they really inspired me. They wished me good future. They said that we'll be there at Wrigley when he gets his chance, and he wants to prove it to him.
And you know what? I don't care what he says. He wants to play in that Field of Dreams game, and I won't hear otherwise. He wants to be a Chicago Cubs starting outfielder playing against the Cincinnati Reds in the corn, and you can be humble all you want. I won't hear otherwise.
Yeah, he's got some sick cleats on, too.
Oh, he's just a sweet human being.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
He just drips swag, as the young kids say.
You are so lame. Patrick Wisdom, your boy.
My boy.
He tied Chris Bryant's rookie home run record, even though he's older than Chris. How do you feel about that?
About him doing it, or the fact that the record's going to...
No, I don't actually care about his age. I care about he's a rookie. He's a well-deserving rookie. He deserved everything. I just cracked a joke about the age. I don't mean it. Like, he absolutely deserves to be in this conversation for Rookie of the Year. Like, you're a rookie. So,
yeah, I'm very happy for him. I think, for him to be a rookie at this point in his career, it means that he's, I guess you can call him a late blossomer, maybe. It took him a while to get there, but here he is, and he's lighting it up. So I'm rooting for him. I honestly hope he does it. If not against the Brewers coming up here, then at home when Minnesota comes to town. I think it'd be cool to do it in front of that Wrigley Field crowd. But, we'll see. I'm rooting for him big time.
100%. Chris Bryant, speaking of, he just went on Redline Radio. Redline Radio, for those who don't know, is my number 1 favorite podcast, besides the 3 that I do, of course. So I guess it's my number 4 favorite podcast. But it is an all-Chicago sports podcast hosted by our friends, White Sox Dave, Carl, Eddie, Chief. Love you guys. He went on there and told Eddie and Carl inside of Sluggers. They did the interview inside of Sluggers, the bar by Wrigley Field. Mm-hmm. He told them something that really interested me, and it sounded like this.
And would you return?
Yeah, and that was, I feel like sometimes the story around me is that like, oh, he hates it here in Chicago, and I'm like, I just want to like just strangle some people who say stuff like that. It's just like, God, like you just don't know me. Like, and I've never had those feelings or thoughts in my mind. Why would I? Like, I've done some really cool, special things here. Why would I ever just want to be like, oh no, would never want to return to that. That sucks. No, I've really been enjoying my time in San Francisco too. It's like been a nice change of pace for me, and like coming to a team that's winning, and like I said, a lot of veterans. That's been different for me and really cool. So it's like you always have your options, hopefully, and this is obviously going to be a place that I love, no matter what.
Okay, I have a couple first initial thoughts. First of all, I want to crush a Red Bull with Chris Bryant really bad. Most of the time when you think of like your favorite athletes based on personality, it's like, oh, I want to have a beer with that guy. I don't want to have a beer with Chris Bryant. I want to crush some Red Bull with Chris Bryant really bad. Really bad. I'm talking like drink it so much that like we're shaking.
What if he doesn't like Red Bull? He just likes
he crushes one in every video he's in. What are you talking about? He literally walked around that entire video like, hey, I'm Chris Bryant. I'm a former NL MVP. And another thing, like we got to hit sluggers and like hit the batting cages before a Cubs game. Like, how have we not done that yet?
I always have wanted to go there. That place looks awesome. I've never been,
but I mainly want to go there to take swings.
Well, yeah, I just want to swing in general. But about what he said, that there was never a doubt in my mind that that's kind of the way he feels. I feel like that's how all those guys feel, regardless of what any of the rumors say. There's no reason why they would never want to come back to Chicago. Like, this is essentially their second home.
100%. And although I agree it's possible that he believes that way, I don't really see it happening. I don't know about you. Like,
no, I think he's too good of a fit over on the West Coast.
Me too. He kind of gives me like those California boy vibes.
He's from Vegas, so whether we see,
But then again, Harper went to the Phillies, so
yeah.
I just don't think the Cubs are in winning position within the next 2 years. So I don't see why someone like Chris, who's getting into his late 20s, early 30s eventually, that like why? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How old is he?
I don't know his exact age. He's still in his 20s, but
so Pat Wisdom is older than him?
I'm pretty sure he is.
That's cool.
But Chris Bryant, he's going to want to go to a contender, no?
Yeah, 100%.
Are the Giants a contender next year and forward? I don't think that's a lock.
I would say so.
I don't know about that. They went into the season with it, according to Fangraphs, a 2.6% chance of making the playoffs. And now they were the first team to clinch. They surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, so they're obviously ahead of pace.
Yeah, right? 100%. But you know what? They're also, nobody talks about them in the same mold for some reason. I'm going to be the leading charge to change this conversation.
No, don't even say that they're like the Dodgers.
The Yankees, the Dodgers. No, they're better than the Dodgers. Like, by a lot.
Yeah.
The Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox. We thought the Cubs would be like that, but they're not. We're hoping the White Sox become this. I think it's possible based on their roster and the trajectory. Just one of those teams who figures it out. They are a good organization. The Cardinals, the worst years are still kind of good. That's what the Giants are lately for the last 10 years or so. And they have 3 rings to show for it since 2010. So
how are you going to say that they're better than the Dodgers by a lot?
What is the most important thing in Major League Baseball?
Winning
the World Series.
Okay.
The Dodgers have 1 in the last 40 years. The Giants have 3 in the last 10.
That doesn't make a difference between these two teams right now.
Oh, no, not now. I'm not saying who's better this season. The Giants have been a better ran franchise than the Dodgers for a while.
I don't know if I could back that.
They're getting pretty even now. The Dodgers 8 straight years of making the playoffs. I understand.
And what, 4 World Series appearances
But the Giants are in that conversation of one of the elite ran MLB teams now.
Yeah, and I don't think there was ever a conversation.
People bring up the Cardinals, the Yankees.
How can you say that for the first half of the decade when they literally won the World Series 3 times?
Because I think before that it was like the Barry Bonds, Jeff Kent, like those days were the last time they were like any good.
I don't know. I think you have a wrong opinion of what people think about the Giants.
That's possible, but they're one of the elite ran organizations in baseball that people should be. They're in the mix every year almost.
Yeah, and even if they have a down year, which we've seen, it's a quick turnaround. It seems.
Gun to your head right now. Do you think they're gonna make it to the World Series?
No.
Do you think they're gonna re-sign Chris?
I actually do. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think he's the only one of the Cubs' big three that is going to get re-signed by their current team?
No, I kind of like Tony Rizzo in New York.
I think all three of them are going to stay where they were traded.
They all fit really, really well. I mean, the only thing that makes me worried is Baez's relationship with the Mets. Yeah, fans. But I mean, his relationship with Lindor.
They're best friends.
Yeah, so I mean,
it would be like if you got traded to my team, you'd want to stay because you love me so much.
You'd be getting traded to my team. I'm the guy.
I'd be the former superstar that won rings and
no, because I'm
traded off.
Because I'm the guy who got the 10-year contract for $500 million.
Don't forget where Lindor came from, though. He came from that Cleveland team that lost to the Cubs in the World Series. Like, I partially hate Lindor forever because he just wasn't good enough in that one series.
I mean, after what we saw this past weekend, I'm forever a Lindor guy. I think he's awesome.
Oh, we will talk about that in a hot minute. The Giants came to town. We went. Chris Bryant's return.
Yeah, it feels like so long ago. It's only been
we haven't had a show. We haven't had a show since going to that doubleheader where we went to the Cubs game and the White Sox game in the same day. We have not had a show since that day.
The time is going by so slow. I mean, we've been to 4 baseball games.
Yeah.
I played a hockey game.
Yeah, just give your whole life story that people want to hear.
I'm just saying we've done a lot of shit within the past week.
What did you think of the Cubs and what they did for Chris? They put his old walk-up song for 1AB. They gave him a nice video. The crowd gave him not 1, not 2, but 3 standing ovations. It was cool stuff, man.
It was.
I'm
great.
An outsider. I didn't clap a single time. I stood up so I can catch a glimpse. I didn't clap. It's not my place to clap.
I clapped. I like Chris.
I like Chris too, but it's not my place.
That's what you're clapping. Why can't you clap for a guy who's returning to Chicago?
It's not my place to clap. It would be disrespectful to Chris. Sorry.
That makes 0 sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I rooted for them to lose 162 games his entire tenure there. I was rooting for Cleveland in the World Series. I have no business clapping for Chris Bryant. It's disrespectful to him.
You're not clapping for any other reason than welcome back, Chris. I'm happy you're myself, back.
Not Chris. I don't deserve to clap for Chris Bryant.
That makes 0 sense. I don't know. I just can't see your logic on that.
If a diehard Cub fan clapped when Luis Robert returns in 7 or 8 years, I'd be mad. You don't clap for him.
The Cub fan, the mentality is that guy was sick for the White Sox. I'm going to show him the respect he deserves coming back to his home stadium.
It depends on the type of fan, I guess.
That makes no sense. I clapped. I was on my feet. I like Chris Bryant. I kind of always have. It was awesome. We weren't able to really tell, but after watching the playback, he was bawling his eyes out, rightfully so. So
yeah, you can tell from the stands. It's one of those things that when you're at the game, you miss.
Exactly. Yeah, but I mean, it was cool. I'm happy to say I was there. The video, even the video they played on the screen out there, it was very emotional. I mean, I didn't get emotional, but if it was my team, it definitely would have made me emotional. It was very cool.
Tough way for them to lose that series, getting swept. They're currently in a series with the Philadelphia Phillies. Tough way to lose last night. They were wild pitched off.
Yeah, that is not the way to end a baseball game at the MLB level. It happens. You see it more than you should. But, I mean, if they were contenders, I would be extremely frustrated because that sucks if you're losing a baseball game that way. It really doesn't mean anything at this point in the season other than, yep, that's kind of how it's been going. But
do you remember when the World Series game ended on a balk-off?
A balk? No.
Yeah. It was recently. I want to say it involved the Giants. I could do some research on that later. I remember the World Series within the last 5 to 10 years ended on a balk off. I want to say I was in high school, so it had to be a little while ago now. But yeah, I definitely remember a somewhat recent World Series ending with a balk, which
Fuck that umpire.
if the White Sox lost a World Series game on a balk, I might go missing.
Yeah, I feel like that umpire's got to be like a major dick.
Yeah, he's probably like that security guard at the game last night.
That guy was a major dick. I know he's listening too. He's a fan of the program. Not really, but
He probably is.
What a Scrooge that guy was.
Yeah, someone peed in that guy's Wheaties. The Brewers are next for the Cubs. It's going to be a tough one for them, I think. Wrap up the Brewers as they face the Cubs.
Yeah, the Brewers are the real deal. The Cubs are not. I'm rooting for my guy Pat to, break that record. It's going to be hard against a team like Milwaukee, especially with their rotation and bullpen that they have. We just talked with Dave about that. But I don't know. It's going to be tough to say. I wouldn't be surprised if, another dominant team in the NL faces the Cubs and puts a sweep on.
And then they got the Twins right after, which I feel like the Twins and the Cubs are probably pretty evenly matched right now.
They played really good against the Twins last time they matched up.
That's what I'm saying.
So, it's in Wrigley. So if you want to see if Pat doesn't have his rookie record home run, buy tickets to one of those two games. I have a good feeling you'll see it.
Yeah, there's also the Brew Crew's not far away. Like some people in the suburbs consider the Milwaukee Brewers Stadium easier to get to than Wrigley Field, depending on where you live.
Yeah.
Or Guaranteed Rate Field, depending on where you live.
That's definitely like a stadium I would love to go just because of how easy it is to get to from us.
Yeah. I think I did the map from one of our cousins' house, and it was closer than Guaranteed Rate Field from their house.
Really?
Yeah. So big series coming up with the Cubs, Brewers. Then they got the Twinkies. Got anything else on the Cubs before we send it on over to the South Side?
I finally dropped Zach Davies off my fantasy team.
It took you long enough.
It took me till there's a month left in the season.
You had your Padres love for him stuck in your mind while you were doing that, I think, while you were hanging on to him.
Yeah, I was sleeping on it. That's like that guy. What was he on the Padres when I had him?
Yeah, 100%. Either that or the Brewers.
I think it was the Brewers when I had him in fantasy, and he was sick.
Maybe it was.
Anyway, before we get into the White Sox, how's your talking fantasy baseball? That is, next week is the playoffs.
Yeah,
fantasy baseball. You're out. I'm not. If I win, I will be the defending football, hockey, and baseball champion. I just had to throw that out there because everyone cares so much. Never been done.
Oh, I'm sending a message to every single person in our league to make sure that doesn't happen.
It's never been done. I honestly think my DMs would be flooded. Everyone would want my input, fantasy input. Like I'm nervous for the publicity that I might, attract from that.
I hope you get smoked. And speaking of things you like getting smoked, the White Sox took 2 of 3 from the Red Sox this weekend. We were at 2 of the 3 games. We went 1-1 while we were there. I know secretly you were wearing your Luis Robert jersey and you were secretly rooting for Devers to give the Red Sox the lead there in the end. You lost.
Here's what happened. Here and a lot of people, a lot of family, friends asked me, who are you rooting for? The easy answer to just shut everyone up is the White Sox. I was not going to wear Red Sox stuff to Guaranteed Rate Field. I'm not going to disrespect my Chicago White Sox.
You've done it before.
I'm not going to disrespect my Chicago White Sox.
There's a picture of you.
Not going to disrespect my Chicago White Sox like that. With that being said, going into it, I wanted a great baseball game. We were there on Friday night. We went on Saturday during the day. We missed the Sunday one, which is arguably the closest one. I just wanted to watch good baseball between my 2 favorite teams, and I couldn't have asked for a better series. Yes, the Red Sox, they could have used that win a little more. I would have been happy if they won the series 2-1. That's sick. I don't even know who that is. That guy's like 70 pounds heavier than me, so I there's no proof that that's me. Anyway, the Sox lost like 100 games that year.
Chris Sale mowed him down in that game.
Exactly. I don't feel bad. I would do it again. This weekend, I was not going to disrespect my Chicago White Sox. With that being said, let me finish before I'm rudely interrupted. I wanted a good game, and Friday was awesome. It was a 4-3 game. The next day, the Red Sox got up to a 7-2 lead, and the White Sox ended up winning. Or the Red Sox ended up winning. They held on. It went to extras, and the White Sox weren't able to get it done. That was awesome. And then Sunday night, a walk-off from Lurie Garcia, of all people. It was a phenomenal baseball series, so I really won.
I want to tell something to people who hate Lurie Garcia for no reason. Screw yourself. He has been an awesome depth player for the White Sox this season. Oh, if Tim Anderson were playing, we would have swept the... No way Tim Anderson would have played as well as Garcia in that series. I'm not saying Tim Anderson's a superstar and Lurie Garcia is like a depth player. But for one series, you're not going to tell me Tim Anderson would have had the impact that Lurie Garcia did in that series. I won't hear it. You're wrong. And stop ripping on players who play for your favorite team. Let them play. The White Sox played awesome against the Red Sox. And you know what? I'll say it. As Tim Anderson just drives the ball nicely for a single. The White Sox are getting crushed in this series from the Angels. They took the first one. They dominated the first one. Then yesterday they lost the close one. Now they're losing 9-0. It seems like every series they have at the back end of their rotation right now, they get killed. Reynaldo Lopez and Dallas Keuchel not getting it done. They're running a 6-man rotation. People don't realize that. Over the weekend against the Texas Rangers coming up here, it will be Lance Lynn, Carlos Rodon, and Lucas Giolito, and I fully expect them to – or Dylan Cease, not Lucas Giolito. Carlos Rodon – or no, Rodon's not going to pitch this series against the Rangers. Tony La Russa literally confirmed that today. So it's going to be Giolito, Cease, and Rodon – or and Lynn. They should dominate that series. And that's why people who freak out, in the comments or whatever when they lose 9-0 to the Angels on a day that Reynaldo Lopez served up 5 – I'm worried. Don't be worried. When the right guys are playing, they win. Grandal and Moncada are out of the lineup today. That's their 2 best on-base guys.
Yeah.
So
tomorrow it's Cease, Saturday is Lance Lynn, and then Sunday is Lucas Giolito.
Yeah. And then I think Rodon's going to get La Russa confirmed Rodon's getting 2 more starts this season. 1 in Detroit, and then 1 in the week following. They're resting him as much as possible. They're getting ready for the playoffs. We heard what Dave said about what the Brew crew are doing.
Which I don't hate.
No,
I don't hate it one bit.
If they get killed by the Angels today without Moncada or Grandal. I mean, there were runners on first and second, 1 out. Romy Gonzalez comes to bat and drowns into a double play. If you think that that's going to happen in the playoffs, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. What about him?
The only blemishes he has this season mostly are against teams he used to play for. I'm guessing there are 2 managers that have the book on Craig Kimbrell. None have it better than David Ross or Alex Cora.
Yeah, you made a good point when we were playing catch ourselves that, not only did David Ross manage this guy, he caught him for the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. So if anyone knows how that guy's going to, look on the mound, it's David Ross. And you're sure as shit he's going to be telling his boys that. So
same thing with Alex Cora, who managed him.
Yeah.
Managed him quite well.
Yeah. I'm not worried about Craig Kimbrell. We saw him warming up yesterday. Unfortunately, never made his way into the game. It's a great problem to have with him and Liam.
And Kopech.
Yeah.
Kopech could be a closer if he wanted.
He was gassing him yesterday.
He was. He gave up that bomb.
I don't know. I don't agree. There were 2 questionable moves yesterday. It was Keuchel starting the 6th inning.
Yeah.
And then Kopech starting the 8th inning.
If they were winning, they would have put in Craig.
Okay, well, it was tied. Maybe it would have stayed tied going into the 9th.
Yeah. And, you know, when you have guys like Garrett Crochet, and he's on the IL right now because he cut his finger in a freak accident, Ryan Tepera, like those guys can get it done too. And I'm as confident in Aaron Bummer as any pitcher in the bullpen. He's probably their fourth best reliever, which
when he's not on,
he's been on the second half. Like Aaron Bummer's back. So I'm not worried about it. And Craig Kimbrell, yeah, his ERA is high with the White Sox.
He hasn't been put into the save situations that he's used to.
Yeah, he's literally like adjusting on the fly. And as long as he's ready for the playoffs, I don't care if his regular season White Sox ERA is 1 billion. He will be ready for the playoffs. And pitching is king in the playoffs. Everybody pitches out of role, except Liam's going to be the only one who doesn't pitch out of role in the playoffs. Because all 4 starters are going to pitch in non-starter roles at some point. And I don't know. It's so weird. I'm not worried. Like, if they lose a playoff series to the Astros because the Astros were like the slightly better team, I'm not going to go back on my take either. Because the Astros are capable of winning the American League. And so are the Rays. The White Sox should be able to beat all the wild card teams.
What do you think is going to happen with Keuchel? Is he going to get moved to the bullpen, or is he going to be watching the playoffs from his couch?
Oh, not the couch, certainly. I don't think he's going to make the roster, though.
I would like to see him in the bullpen because it seems like he faces a lineup once through and it's really good. Literally, we saw it yesterday, and then they come up second time around, and then they start hitting him. Yeah, he only gave up 1 run through 5 innings yesterday, and then he came in to start the 6th, which I disagreed with. So I'm sure that run in the 6th get awarded to him?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So it was looking actually pretty good. It was looking like to be a 1-run earned 5-inning outing for Dallas, and it didn't work that way. So it's maybe him in the bullpen going 1 inning, be able to get it done. I don't hate that at all.
But like, it always seems like when we get to Thursday and they're resting everyone's like all of a sudden down. Their magic number dropped from 15 to 7 in like 4 days. And, you know, that is a lot of the time helped by Cleveland losing, of course. But the White Sox were winning their games too. It would not drop that fast just by Cleveland losing. And so it's been on 7 for 1 full day, and people are like freaking out. It's probably going to stay at 7 again or drop to 6 if Cleveland loses. But like, when the playoff rotation is set and the bullpen is ready to go, the lineup will be the same every single game. Tim Anderson's rotating on and off now. And when you have Anderson, Robert, Jimenez, Moncada, Abreu, Grandal, Vaughn, Hernandez, when all those guys are in the lineup in the same order every single day, it's going to be dangerous, and nobody should worry too much.
Yeah.
If they lose in the playoffs, it'll be because there was a better team that played better, and they're going to need to figure out what they need to over the offseason. They're going to need to figure out what it will take to get over the hump.
Yeah. Take us through what's going on in that game right now. I see the White Sox just got a run. Don't call it a comeback.
Jose Abreu had an RBI single. Jimenez is at the plate, 2-2, 1 out, 6th inning. They're going to lose. I mean, it's whatever.
Whoa, negative Nelly over here.
It's 9-1 with 3 innings left.
Negative Nelly. Yeah, I've never seen the White Sox put up an 8-run inning before.
I mean, I would settle for 2 4-run innings. I guess it's possible, but they have, for the most part, shut down Shohei Ohtani in this series. Thoughts?
Yeah, showing 5 yesterday. Show for 5.
Show for 5.
I thought I was clever coming up with that. But what is right now though? What is he 2 for 3? He's got a couple hits in that game. So I mean, I don't know. I was looking at some of his in depth, because all you really hear about with Shohei Ohtani, like from an outsider, not like a diehard Angels fan or even like a diehard baseball fan, you just hear, oh, he's a pitcher who has 40 plus home runs. You look at some of his in-depth stats. He's batting 250, which isn't anything to like.
But his OPS is over 900. Batting average is a crappy stat.
He crushes balls.
Yeah. Batting average is a dumb stat.
I think
unless you're a leadoff hitter,
if he didn't pitch, I would say there's no way he wins the MVP.
No, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to ask you when you were done talking.
With what?
If Vladimir Guerrero Jr. wins the Triple Crown, should Shohei still be the MVP?
Part of me still believes that Vlad Guerrero has a chance to win MVP, even with what's going on right now.
I think a Triple Crown would be needed to outdo having like an 8 WAR because he pitches at a 3 ERA level and has pushing 50 bombs.
Triple Crown is just leading in
batting average, home runs, and RBIs.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna. We'd have to pull up the list of RBI leaders again.
Salvador Perez had another home run today and extended his. Abreu had another RBI as well,
and he had a one yesterday.
Yeah,
Abreu did. That doesn't help. I'm looking now. Vlad is sitting at 103.
Yeah,
so
Abreu's slightly ahead of him. I think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the best pure hitter in baseball right now.
Yeah, I think he is going to win the home run race. I'll say that.
Yeah, him or Salvador Perez, who just doesn't stop hitting him.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a fun race down the stretch. But I honestly wouldn't count Vlad Guerrero out of that MVP race. And I think Bryce kind of has it locked up in you don't?
No. Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to win the NL MVP. I think.
Couple good races going down in each league.
There really is. None
of them are for sure. I'm not going to sit here and say I think Shohei's for sure the AL MVP.
No, I don't know if I think so either. It's going to be interesting to see. It's right there with the American League wild card. It's banana lands. The Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the A's, and the Mariners are all right there.
It's quite stressful. They're literally all tied. They're all 8 games back of the Tampa Bay Rays. Talk about coming down to the wire.
Give your take. Who's going to take them?
Your Boston Red Sox. Unbiasedly.
I unbiasedly think it because the remaining games are against the Orioles and Nationals. 9 of their remaining games are against those teams. So it wouldn't even surprise me if they get really hot and host the game.
Yeah, that's definitely ideal, especially, Chris Sale should be coming off the COVID list soon. We saw Xander return last Friday. Everyone seems to be coming back, so
the
Yankees peaked too early. I'll say it again. I said it a lot last week.
So wait, your final 2 are who? Boston and what?
The Jays.
Yeah, I think the Jays too.
Which would music to my ears if the Yankees don't make the playoffs.
I think the Jays and one of the Yankees are Red Sox. I think the Mariners are a day late and a dollar short. And I think the A's played themselves out of it.
The A's?
Yeah.
Oh, we're switching gears now?
No, that's AL wildcard.
Oh, AL. Okay, I see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
I see now. Yeah.
What about the NL wildcard? The Reds have slumped, as Dave mentioned earlier in the show. I think the Padres are probably going to end up locking up that last wildcard spot, right? And they're going to go to Los Angeles and play them in the wildcard game. Or San Francisco, but
it all depends. If Philly gets hot again, you never know. But I guess the safe bet is to say the Padres, but I wouldn't say it's a sure shot lock.
If it's the Padres versus the Dodgers in a 1-game wild card, that might end up being the most entertaining baseball game of the season.
Literally every game that they play already is one of the most entertaining games. So yeah.
And I think people underestimate the Padres. I think everybody would just bet Dodgers money line thinking they're going to win $1 billion. I could see the Padres winning that game and just ousting the Dodgers in a major upset. I do.
I don't know. It would be interesting to see how each team handles the pitching.
It would be Blake Snell versus Walker Buehler.
No, I know, but after those guys come out, you need to win this game. So are you putting all your marbles on the table? Are you going with maybe a starter to relieve?
Maybe.
Who knows?
It is like a game 7.
Exactly. So I think that would be the most interesting aspect of it. And then also if guys like Fernando Tatis, Mookie, some of the big names,
Bellinger, Turner, both Turners.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say the Dodgers are deeper in that regard, but you never know.
Yeah.
The Dodgers and the Giants clinched. Are you happy about it?
Yeah, I am. I actually am not even counting. We're talking about that. I'm not even counting out the Dodgers winning the division.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah, so I don't even know why we're talking about that. Maybe it could be the Giants.
Or the Giants.
Yeah, which I don't know. I like the way that the Giants. This is going to be very contradicting to everything I've ever said on the show about my Dodgers. I like the way that the Giants would match up against the Padres. It seems like the Padres play way better against the Dodgers than they do against the Giants, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think they would both beat the Padres at the end of the day.
I think the Padres Giants would be or Padres Dodgers would be a closer game than the Giants Padres, regardless of the fact that I think that the Dodgers are better.
Interesting. The NL wildcard game might be the better, unless the Yankees play the Red Sox. But can you imagine if it's Dodgers, Padres, and Yankees, Red Sox as the two wildcard games? The MLB is probably
hoping for that,
licking their chops, hoping that happens.
Yeah, and the Padres are actually playing the Giants right now. Just started in the top of the second. I forgot that series was going on.
Yeah. Over the weekend, we celebrated the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. And, we always remember what's going on there. The Yankees played the Mets, and we were discussing whether or not we thought that was on purpose, that the MLB schedule makers had the Yankees playing the Mets the week of that. And we both kind of agreed it probably was on purpose, but there was nothing celebratory about that series at all. Those guys got feisty.
Yeah, especially Sunday night. There's a kind of a nice backstory to it.
Explain to the people what happened.
So Saturday, there was, rumblings that the Mets were, and if I get anything wrong, feel free to interrupt me. There was rumblings from the Mets side that the Yankees are whistling from the dugout. They are whistling, letting batters know when a fastball is coming. That's the theory. And, you watch the film, there's people, phenomenal YouTubers and such, Twitterers who have made some great content showing it, exemplifying it. And it looks, it's hard listening for whistles at a baseball game because everyone fucking whistles, it seems. But, you watch some of these clips of some of these home runs and, you hear this very, very obvious whistle, and then here comes a fastball. So fast forward the next night, Francisco Lindor, my guy, hits a bomb, and, I believe he says to someone in the outfield, this is all after, or no, that happened first. He said something to someone, hey, stop whistling, stop whistling. Mike Stanton hits a home run later that game, and as you can see, he had words for someone, and Garrett Cole being all tough.
I hate that motherfucker.
And, Javi Baez wants to fight Mike Stanton. Bench is cleared. Apparently, you can clearly read Lindor's lips later on, telling the umpire, like, we're good. It's kind of funny here. Lindor is saying, go back. And Baez is saying, come here.
Yeah. One of them wants the smoke. One of them.
So, tie game in the 7th inning. And then what does Lindor do? In the bottom of the 8th inning, he hits his 3rd home run of the game just to shut up every Yankee fan and ultimately win that game for the New York Mets. Now, the question is, are the Yankees whistling? Are they cheating? Did Lindor overreact? Was it his place to say something about it? My take, unbiasedly, if they were whistling, you would be able to really pinpoint. You look over there, right? I feel like someone would have seen someone whistling. You have to be doing it from the dugout visibly. Whistles happen in baseball games. Go to a baseball game or listen when you're watching on TV. Just listen to all the whistles that you're able to hear. People love whistling at baseball. So, I got to kind of take the Yankee side on this. Like, you can't really peg them for whistling to tip off fastballs.
You're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Stealing signs from a guy being on second base is a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
That's why
there's
guys
foul
like
play going on.
the Red Sox balked someone to third base so they can't see the signs. They did it on purpose.
Yeah. So I agree with the Yankees for kind of getting mad for being accused of whistling, but what a way for Lindor to just shut them up.
I was on the Yankee side.
Yeah, so am I. And
you whistle if you can. And when Mike Stanton hit that home run, I was so happy. And
yeah,
then
but also like Mike Stanton.
I was so happy. I was also so happy when Lindor did though too, because I love nothing more than like a good heel. And Francisco Lindor is now the heel of the Yankee fan base.
And the fact that was not his first, not his second, but his third home run of the baseball game to give them a 7-6 lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. It capped off Sunday Night Baseball in a way that won't happen again this year.
That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
It really is.
Yeah, I can't. I wish the Yankees and the Mets were able to play each other just a little more. I wonder if people feel that way about the White Sox and the Cubs. We need a good White Sox Cubs like fight.
The thing is, the Mets. I would consider the Mets a very good baseball team right now.
Yeah.
The Yankees are obviously a very good baseball team as well. Have we really seen a true Cubs White Sox series recently where both teams are very good baseball teams? No.
Last year, but there were no fans in the stands.
And even, yeah.
They were separated by one game last year. Both teams were good in 2020.
True.
The Cubs tailed off. The Cubs were so hot to start in 2020 that their below average record in the second half of those 60 games kind of went unnoticed. But at the end of the day, they were one less win than the White Sox in 2020. The White Sox had them by one game.
Yeah, and but the White Sox even last year were nowhere near it they were this year.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're right. Last year, it's hard to compare because you're right now. No. But throughout the entire season, 2020's team might have been better just because Robert and Jimenez were in the line and Grandal were in the lineup every day.
Yeah.
And so that does make a difference. This year's pitching is worlds better.
Yeah.
They would have loved to have, if they had Lance Lynn and Rodon last year, they probably would have beat the A's because they had a lead in that game 3 against the A's, a multi-run lead. And then Rodon blew it.
Yeah, we need more of what we just saw on the screen right there. We need some fan fights. Seems like it happens every time at the old Crosstown Classic.
If one major league stadium getting banned from didn't get you banned from all of them, I'd do it.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. Like, if I were to get banned from Guaranteed Rate Field, like, how are they gonna know me if I go to Wrigley? No, I'm not.
Well, when you're a huge podcaster 3 years from now, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, the goal is, like, hey, Joey Parisi, you can't be here. But right now, with my 139 followers, go follow me at Joey Parisi, and no one's going to know who I am.
We have a family thing coming up this weekend that is going to hit home. We have a little birthday party for our little cousin, and it's themed for the Sandlot. And we discussed the Field of Dreams movie at length when the Field of Dreams games happened. It's one of our favorite movies ever. I want to talk a little bit about the Sandlot before we wrap up the show. What is your favorite thing about the Sandlot to start?
My favorite thing about the Sandlot, like my favorite scene, my favorite moment of the movie?
Whatever came to your brain when I said what's your favorite thing about it.
My favorite is that end scene where the dog chases Benny throughout the that scene is probably one of my favorite like baseball scenes in general from a baseball movie. Yeah, it's childish and stuff. It's not really baseball, but like the whole lead up to that, you look at it from a movie perspective, the lead up to that scene, him talking to Babe Ruth in his dream. He gets the new shoes. What are they called?
PF Flyers.
Yeah, he gets the new PF Flyers, and
he was guaranteed to make a kid run faster and jump higher.
Yeah, he takes off his old ones and puts on the fresh, clean ones. And when I was a little kid, I was like, "Oh shit, the new shoes actually make you run faster and jump higher. So I always thought when I got new shoes as a kid, because I seen that movie so many times, that I was able to run faster and jump higher when my shoes were brand new. I literally thought that when I was a little kid. So that whole scene of him running through town from Hercules was amazing. And then all to find out that the dog is a cool dog and James Earl Jones is a cool guy.
100%. I mean, Darth Vader had the ball in their backyard. No shit, they were scared to get him.
Yeah, exactly. Another favorite scene, I'll go real quick here, is all the little schemes that they tried to get that ball back.
They were all dumber than the next.
Yeah, my favorite one was the I don't know, my little nerd self loved it when they built like the little scoop thing.
Farther.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they scoop it up.
Fire.
And then when they finally launch it, the dog jumps up. Also in what's his name? I forget his name. The catcher? No, not the catcher. He's wearing the chest protector and they like lower him down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then when they pull him up, he goes.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I love that movie. The beginning when they play finger popping time and Benny's running around the bases. It's just such a good movie, and the story of it. And Benny becomes a Major League Baseball player. He steals home as a pinch runner in the major leagues to end and Smalls is like the announcer. It's just a great movie. I'm actually probably gonna watch it to be all tuned up before this little birthday party. I have my Benny the Jet Rodriguez shirt that I'm gonna wear.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Dodgers jersey.
There's nobody cooler in our childhood than Benny the Jet. No one.
I was a Hamilton Porter guy myself.
Of course you were.
Hamilton Porter is my guy.
The chubby kid who liked to drink pops and eat hot dogs on the bench.
Yeah.
It's funny. I liked Benny just because I liked to hit when I was younger. I become more into pitching as I got older, but hitting was my thing when I was younger. And it's good stuff.
Yeah.
I did like that they all had like cool hats too. And what's his name? The pitcher. I was able to think of everybody's name on the spot. Kenny, right? Kenny.
Yeah, I did. It's actually
he was wearing a Kansas City Monarchs hat, and it's one of the original Negro League teams. And boy, that hat is cool. I got to get me one of those.
Yeah,
I want to say, were the Monarchs the team Jackie Robinson played for before the Dodgers? I can't remember the exact team, but all those hats, like the jerseys, the White Sox wear one every now and then. There was a game before COVID. I want to say they were playing the Yankees, and each team had like a local jersey from the Negro Leagues, and it was just I love that heritage so much. So shout out to Kenny.
That was a good name pull. I got all the kids' names right here.
It was Kenny?
Yeah, it's Kenny.
Hell yeah.
Timmy Timmons, remember him?
Timmy and Tommy Timmons. Hamilton Porter, Michael Squints Palladorus, Gordon Bertram Weeks.
When you mention Squints, you got to mention our girl Wendy Peppercorn.
Wendy Peppercorn.
Is it Peffer or Preffer?
I don't know.
Just as Wendy. Just as Wendy.
Yeah, we all remember the scene where Squints puts the move on her, and they all get booted from the pool. Nothing will. There's also the scene where they're on the ride.
Yeah,
at the carnival, and they're all packing lips with some Redmonds chewing tobacco.
Remember the tall lanky kid? It says his name is Bertram.
Bertram.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that being his name.
Yeah.
Bertram. It's like a favorite moment of ours. Like every time he pops up,
he's so buzzed from the chewing tobacco. He's like,
yeah. So yeah, this weekend, that's your guys' movie to watch, baseball movie to watch, The Sandlot.
Maybe I'll get a pack of Redmonds from the gas station or something and just chew a bunch of tobacco during the party.
I'm not gonna lie, that shit looks gross.
It looks disgusting.
You actually like chew it, no?
Yeah, because most of us have only ever done like wintergreen lawn.
Yeah, it's not something you like pack.
You chew that shit. Yeah,
it's gross.
Yeah, no shot. That was a joke. Not gonna happen. I love that movie though. Great movie.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll take a couple pictures of us in our Dodgers. I'm actually probably gonna wear. I have the hat that Benny gives Smalls because he was wearing that ugly fisherman hat. And Benny's like,
that thing was sick with the long bill.
Shit's ugly as hell. He's like, Smalls, you got a fireplace? Yeah. Throw that hat in it. Here, it's my old hat. And he hands him a UCLA Bruins hat, but it's just a yellow C on a navy hat. And I love it.
Yeah. Don't you have one?
I do.
You should be wearing it right now.
Probably what I'm going to rock.
Should have wore it right now for this moment, but
can't wear every hat, man. I can't even remember what to say sometimes on this show, let alone remember what hat I'm wearing all the time. But this was a good show. We talked some Milwaukee Brewers baseball. Joey did his Sox crawl hat. And the reason we did Milwaukee was because that's who the Cubs are playing this weekend. And I just think, regardless of if the Cub fans in the chat hate the Brewers or not, to me, they do mirror the White Sox in terms of how the teams are built. It's all foundation on pitching and coaching and bullpen with some big bats in the middle of the order too. I don't know. I thought it was good Brewers insight. I do enjoy watching the Brew Crew. We'll see what happens when they play each other this weekend. And
this will be the first week of a show, like first week in between shows that we don't go to a baseball game in a while. We're not going to be at any games. The White Sox are taking a big road trip.
11-game road trip after this game against the Angels is over. So we're not going to be at Guaranteed Rate Field for the while. Shout out my good friend Joe Mandel. I do have tickets to the Reds series when they come back. We will be right there at Guaranteed Rate Field when they return. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say on behalf of Major League Baseball before we head on out of here?
No, we talked a lot of good baseball. Looking forward to another weekend of week 2 of the NFL. If you want to quick brush over some NFL.
I hate Matt Nagy with every
Here he goes again.
I want that guy fired and on the next plane to his hometown starting tomorrow. I'm rooting for the Bengals. I want the Bengals to smoke them. I want it to be so obvious that they are a disaster of a franchise. I can't stand I like Justin Fields. I like Monty, David Montgomery. I like Khalil Mack. Allen Robinson, you look at his charts of his routes from the game, and they were disgusting. I like how we get the background change when we start rolling into Bears. I despise how Allen Robinson never had a target far down the field. Like all of his routes were like,
get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit. So it's together.
Morty knows what's up. That's Morty, right?
Yeah.
Rick is the other one.
Yeah.
Morty knows more about football than Matt Nagy, and you will not convince me otherwise. Ryan Pace is the worst GM. Do you know he's about to enter his 8th draft if he don't get fired? 8! 8 drafts when it's been this bad? And they don't even have a first-round pick, so there's no reason to tank. They're not going to get a top 5 pick because the Giants have it. The people in New York are laughing. They're like, we get this first-round pick of this team that's going to have a bottom 5 record. Yeah, they got Justin Fields. He's a good player, but they don't even play him. I can't wait to watch Tom.
Sorry, I brought it up.
Wait to watch Tom. You should be sorry you brought it up. I like talking baseball. The White Sox are in first place. The only games they lose are the games.
We got Thursday night football tonight.
Yes, make sure you tune in to all the great programming across the Barroom Network that discusses the NFL. The Washington football team will be playing the New York Football Giants. That should be a pretty fun game to watch. I think the NFC East is probably going to be better than people think this year because they were such an atrocity last year. But if I hear one NFC North fan ripping on the NFC East, I'm going to just laugh at you and assume you don't watch football because the NFC North looked disgusting.
Speaking of football, everyone plays fantasy football nowadays.
Hurry, I'm holding back a fart.
Everyone plays fantasy football. I play fantasy football and fantasy baseball. This time next week, I will be 4 days into the semifinals of our fantasy baseball league. I need good vibes.
You haven't even paid yet. I'm locking your team until you pay.
I don't need to pay. It's coming right back.
Well, hopefully the Bears don't look like a complete joke against the Bengals, even though I kind of am rooting for it. Make sure you catch all the NFL programming, like I said, on Barroom Network. Bulls 101 Sunday night, South Burbs Hibman Monday night. And guess what, bro? There's hockey to watch this weekend.
I was this close. I was at the gym today. This will be quick. I was looking at tickets for the first, or not the first, a preseason game on like late September. I believe it's like the 29th or something. It's a Wednesday.
I'm in.
We would do our hockey show. They're playing the Red Wings. Who knows who the fuck's going to start? Maybe we'll get lucky and see Fleury. Who knows? You never know what preseason.
Yeah, and media is going on right now in Chicago.
It's like
the best player from every team is in Chicago right now.
Is that what it is? It's all in Chicago?
It's all in Chicago. The best player from every NHL team is in the city.
I don't know what decided where it is, because Charlie McAvoy's doing it for Boston.
Yeah, it's Jack Hughes for the Devils. So Marc-Andre Fleury for the Hawks. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm pretty excited.
That'd be cool to go to
the Devils play the Bruins. The Devils play the Bruins this weekend.
Yeah,
the Prospects. It is Sunday, September 19th, 1 p.m. So it'd be noon our time. I am that lady when thinking about hockey and baseball being on at the same time.
All right, I'll stop thinking of topics that keep getting us away here.
Away from what? It's our show.
I'm all frustrated. I don't know how to go away.
Oh, really?
So I might just pick this way.
You could go that way.
Oh, well, I might.
That is ridiculous how real that looks.
Go ahead now.
I love it. The internet is undefeated. We got to see really close up yesterday. Shout out to our guy Yasmani Grandal. I love going to the White Sox games, and even on days they get killed because they don't start anyone. Although a Luis Robert Grand Slam right now would make it 9-5.
I hit 74 on the speed pitch thing. I went up a mile per hour, unwarmed up.
No one cares. No one actually.
You don't know. What if the scouts are watching?
I care. You're going to hit 80. You will hit 80, and I will hit 75 by next year. That's my goal.
You're going to hit 75? I don't know about that, Chief.
I'm going to. You'll see. Whenever you tell Vinnie Parisi he can't do something, he does it. You should know that by now. More than anyone.
Yeah, but that's you going up like 12 miles per hour.
I know. Yeah, probably not 75.
That's a lot.
My arm is dead. No, my arm's dead. I, for the most part, have a dead arm. It's all that catching.
So I really wish you would forgive me, Papa.
Imagine calling Justin Verlander Papa. Shout out to everyone who watched. We appreciate you. Shout out Dave Gasper from Reviewing the Brew of Fansided.com for coming on as our guest today. We greatly appreciate it. Joe, shout out you for dealing with all this nonsense that I come up with.
Shout out Mike North for mentioning us again. If he ever wants to talk to the Italians himself, he's more than welcome.
He does owe me money.
For what?
I don't know. He just assumes that he owes us money. So, why wouldn't I be like, yeah, you owe me money? Of course you do.
I'm wondering where the fuck our money is.
I want to know where the hell our money is, Mike North. You got till Tuesday, Mike. Play the clip. I
turned it on to Parisi's.
They're fun.
They look like a couple guys that once asked me, "Do you have the money yet?"
Mike, I swear on this Red Bull, if you don't give me my money by Tuesday, we're gonna have words.
We need Mike North. I want to talk hockey with him because a few weeks ago he said, I don't want to argue hockey with those two. I want to argue hockey with you, Mike North.
I'd have him on either show. If he's comfortable talking hockey, we could talk. I know he's comfortable talking baseball. I listen to the Mike North Advantage almost every day. Almost every week. And so I know he's capable of talking hockey or baseball. If he's comfortable talking hockey, I'd love to have him on.
Let's do it.
And he better have our damn freaking money.
Yeah.
Love you, Mike North. For at Joey Parisi on Twitter, I'm at Vinnie Parisi on Twitter. Thank you so much for listening. Go White Sox.